Yeah, but this is a reaction. It's not really somebody embarrassing themselves. This is just a natural reaction when a mom comes out of nowhere. I mean, when a mom knows what she's done, and when their grown child, male or female, comes out and saying that you did something to me,
Hmm.
their first reaction is going to be that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I agree, but I don't think that it is like, um, I don't always think it's because people know that they did something wrong. I think that sometimes it's more based on the just flat out not wanting to be embarrassed. Period. You know that
That's
whole
cool.
that
Okay,
whole
okay,
thing of the whole thing of
okay,
this is a family, this family
okay.
business.
Hold on. We're not live yet, but I was just trying to get your thought on what's actually going.
Well,
I'm
then
live on
don't ask me no
Instagram.
questions, then, Aaron. If you ain't
No, I'm trying
ready.
to see like where your head is at before I hit the button. I say I'm live on Instagram, but I'm about to hit the
Oh, well,
YouTube
hit the
button
button
now.
then. Better hurry up.
All right. So you good?
Yes, I'm good. I'm on my
Oh,
Instagram too over here.
okay, so you got 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour.
Let's do 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, give me a second. Let me introduce everything.
I'm on you guys with Mr. Let
All
Go.
right, y'all. This is another episode of Aaron After Dark. I am your host, Mr. Let Go, and I'm here tonight with Megan McGlover, somebody that I admire,
Oh.
and she's a social media influencer. And yo, you don't follow her, it's like you follow her. Once you get on her page, she just has so much going on. Where it's all these different videos or whatever, and like she goes live like I don't know what every day or something. Like she be killing it.
I used to. I used to go live every
Um,
day, but now that I have my app, I don't go live on Instagram all the time. But
okay.
yeah.
First of all, what's your app? Because people gonna be like, "What app? What is your app?" Real quick.
My well, first of all, I have to say thank you for letting for inviting me on here, letting
Okay.
me come in here and talk. I cannot just start talking. I got to say at least thank you. I love what you do. I love um I love your name, Mr. Let Go. You know what I mean? It
Thank you.
helps people to understand that you cannot always carry that baggage around.
Hmm.
Um, so I have to say thank you first. That's the first thing. The
Okay.
other
Thank you.
thing is my app is entitled McGloverable. So it's
Bubble.
McGloverable. McGloverable. Or you can
Right.
just search my name, Megan McGlover.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So as everybody comes on, you already know. Make sure to hit the like button, and if you don't see a like button, it's because you're in the chat. So hit the button on the side. Um, and then once it's a little button, a little X, and then when you see that, it pulls it up. You'll see the normal YouTube stuff. Hit like, hit the button again. You come back in the chat. All right. So make sure to hit the like button. So I posted a video because we're going to be talking about two particular videos today, and they both are somewhat in the same stratosphere as each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, which one did you want to touch on first?
I think we should touch on it in order because of what you just said. They're kind of like in the same stratosphere. So I think we should
Mhm.
talk about the mom who was dating the guy,
Okay,
and then we can go into the mom with the son.
right. Okay, all right, cool. All right, so for those who don't follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Mr. underscore let go. And I posted a video either yesterday or the day before yesterday. It was the day before yesterday about a true story about a woman that dated a guy. And this is some of it is typical, but it goes crazy. A woman dated a guy, don't really know him, just want a boyfriend or whatever, and then next thing you know, she moves the guy in with her two daughters. And sadly, this happens way too often. It'll be some chick, she'll meet some guy, and then she has two kids, and for whatever reason, she moves the dude in because she wants a boyfriend, right? He's not really committing to her. He didn't ask to marry her. He's just some dude that they start messing around together, and he's like, "Hey, it'd be nice for us to move in together." And she's like, "Oh yeah, move in with me." Sound familiar? You got a sister like that? You got a cousin like that? Auntie, cousin, somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
not only did she move him in. This is not only did she move him in.
mm,
She worked nights
yes.
and
She
let
was
this
nice. She has
nigga take
heart.
care of her 2 daughters. That is where I said, "Oh, really, ho? So you gonna
Yeah.
leave this man, this stranger,
Yeah.
in your house with your 2 daughters at night while you are at work?" So we're not talking about, because see people do not want to really do the math about life. Okay, so we're talking about, let's say it takes you about an hour to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
You work an 8-hour shift, but you have to have 2 breaks and a lunch. That's 9 hours. Then another hour, that's 11 hours in total that you are gone away from your children during the time that they take baths, during the time that because they take baths at night. Do they not? Do children take baths at night? They take baths at night. They're in the bed. They're wearing, little to nothing. They don't have on jeans when they go to sleep. They have on, panties and a top or whatever, little tank top or whatever the little pajamas that little girls wear, whatever.
And make sure not to say the M word also. You know what I mean? Just the M
I can't
word.
say the N word.
M.
Oh, M. Did I say it already?
You know what I mean? No, you didn't say it, but going in the direction, you can easily be like, he blanked them. You know what I'm saying?
You can't say the M. Oh, okay, the M-O word. Okay, got you. I thought you were talking about the M-F word. Okay, so thank you for that, because I was going to say it at some point, I'm sure. Yeah. So the fact that not only she moved this man into her house with her 2 children, but that she worked at night and let him stay there while she worked at night, that blew my mind.
And as for the people who didn't see the video on my Instagram page, so it gets crazier. So what ends up happening in this particular video, which was a true story, it was one night when a woman was like, "All right, girls, give me a hug. I'm about to go to work," and the kids were literally like, "No, please, no, please." And she was like, "What? What's wrong? No, please don't go to work." And she's like, "Oh, okay, I know. You don't want me to go to work." Now, they spent all day with her. Mm-hmm. Now, okay? Mm-hmm. So they are about to go to bed. So common sense doesn't tell this woman that they're begging her not to go to work because of something other than, "I want to hang out with you some more."
That's what she said. That's what she said.
She said hanging out and playing with you.
That's what she said.
Why do you think they are literally begging her not to go to work? This is a true story. Go ahead, Megan.
No, you. That's what she said. The lady said that her children said, "Mommy, please don't go to work. We don't want you to go to work. We don't want you to go to work." Yeah. So you can't sit up here and say that you didn't know, because they told you. They told you something. They may not have said, "Oh, well, the man is, doing things to me at night," but you knew something. You knew something, because when they are crying and screaming and you talking about, "Oh, okay, well, I'll call in." That's what she said. She said, "Well, that one night I went on ahead and called in, but I told my girls I'm not going to be able to call in anymore because I have to go to work." Let me tell you something. First of all, if you get in a relationship with somebody that cannot seem to help you be a better parent, then you need to get out of that relationship. You don't need to be in.
You don't work at night anymore because you got a man, or you're more receptive to your freaking kids where your kids are begging you. You have a guy there and they're begging you not to go home. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 7.
That's right. It really does.
Go ahead.
They trying to make up this new math, this woke math, so it might equal 7 at some point. But as of right now, it does not equal 7. The bottom line is, the first thing that these people need to do is scope the block. I don't know why these females continuously get in relationships and do not scope the block. when you buy a house, do you just buy the house, or do you go to the area? You drive up and down the block. You drive around the backside. You come in at the nighttime, the daytime. You talk. You see about the neighbors. You go inside the house. You check
when it rains.
When it rains, you check it all out. You get something. Then not only that, you get an inspector. You pay hundreds of dollars to have an inspector go all up and through that house, checking the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, the cracks, the walls, the floors, the everything. But when it comes time for somebody to stick their penis, can I say penis?
Yeah, you said.
Stick their penis in your vagina and be around your most prized possession, which is your children, you do no research at all. None. You just let them come in there and they talk. And then she said, this is what she said. She said, when the dudes, when she said, oh, well, she asked the guy, why are the girls so upset? Do you know why the girls are so upset? This is what he said. Oh, they'd be all right.
They'll be all right. Don't worry about it. It wasn't even a conversation where they're just like, yo, I wonder what's going on with my kids. And, do you know anything? I don't know. Maybe it was no conversation. It was just like, whatever.
Oh, they'd be all right. You's a stranger talking about my kids will be all right. I'll shoot you in the face. You don't tell me, oh, my kids will be all right. No, why are they so upset? Why are they so upset? Why are they screaming, yelling, crying, acting a fool every time I need to go to work? What is really going on? I understand. And see, this is the thing. The thing is that people need to stop putting their lives in such places of desperation that they'll just take anything and anybody. Well, I needed help with my kids at night. No, ho. First of all, when you have children, the first time, have them with somebody decent.
And she had two.
Now, I don't know if she had two by two different men or she had two by one man. But the bottom line is you must be paying better attention to the person with whom you're going to have children. You cannot just have this is why it is so important for you to plan things. You have to be able to say, okay, Aaron, okay, what is your future plan? What do you want to do with your future? Okay, first of all, do you even like children? Do you want to have children? Do you want to have children with me? Do you think that I would be a good mother? What kind of parenting skills do you think that I have? What kind of parenting skills do you have? Do you want the kids to go to private school? You want them to go to public school? Do you want to still live here in this country? Do you want to do this? Do you want the kids to be vegetarian? Do you want them to be vegan? These are the things in which you have to ask before you start screwing, because once you get pregnant, you can't go back.
Can't get a refund.
You cannot get a refund. And then when you find out, you didn't ask this guy no questions. Then you find out he's a piece of garbage. Then you get a divorce. Or you find out that he, doesn't want kids or whatever. And you're pregnant and now you got kids and now you have to work nights because you're in a desperate situation when you didn't have to be in that situation at all if you had just asked a few freaking questions.
Well, as far as if there was a marriage, right? Because I don't know if the kid's father they were married or whatever. My number one thing is just two things, because I want to talk about the ex, whoever made these kids with this woman, and this particular man, and I want to put both of them together for a second. One, if you have a kid, try to make sure the next kid that comes out of you is by a man that you marry, okay? A lot of ladies just forget about all this. And this is the biggest problem. This is what we're talking about as far as this first video. Women seem to get enjoyment out of skipping steps. It's like, yes, I get to skip steps. Yes. It's like they get excited. No, I'm not going to do this right. I'm not going to do this right. It's like they don't want to do things right. They get excited when they do something dumb or something, right? Mm-hmm. So she had two kids. We don't know if they were married. So I'm not going to judge the woman because I don't know if she's married or what, how many baby daddies. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you have a child learn from your mistakes and don't make a second child with the same guy if he doesn't marry you, or don't go out and make another child with another guy who doesn't marry you. Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing, when we go to this present situation with this guy, why are you letting some man live with you? Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say like this: when I was at the lowest point in my life during the recession, like me and the chick lived together. Okay. And me and her, we're still cool to this day. But just from a protector of women's standpoint, because I got to talk from on a woman standpoint, because that when me and this chick lived together, and I was around her kids or whatever, I know who I am. I'm a good guy, right? But if she would have chose the wrong man,
yeah,
those kids
it would have been a problem. Well, see, the thing is, here's the thing. This is the thing.
Hold on, one more thing. So,
sorry.
So, because one thing I don't want to do is ever call the pot black. What they say? I don't want to be the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah. Right.
So somebody go in my past like, well, you live with a woman and her kids. Yeah, but I'm not the woman. She was wrong for having me and her because we got a place together. But at the end of the day, we weren't married. So she was wrong for doing that. But I'm the man, and I know me, and I'm not this weird old person. So from my end as the man, I was cool with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But this is about ladies. This is about women. Do not let a man move in with you, or you and a man move in together simply because y'all both are broke. Because that was both me and her. Yeah. I was broke. I'm about to lose my house. I'm about to lose everything. And we was like, hey, let's do this. And it was dumb. Okay? Yeah. So going back, because like I said, I don't want to be the black pot, whatever you call kettle black.
Pot killing the kettle black.
Going back to this particular situation, ladies, it's stupid, okay, to move a man in your house, period, without him marrying you. But when you add children,
that's right,
is extremely stupid, because this man might do what we're about to talk about, because we're not going to use certain words, what happened to these kids. And real quick, Megan, let me honor my brother, Corey Bentley. He dropped a super chat. Shout out for having these conversations. It most certainly matters who you let plant their seeds in you, ladies.
Facts.
Thank you, bro. But go ahead, Megan.
Thank you so much. That's facts. Listen, so it's not only a level of desperation financially. It's a level of desperation in not knowing the difference between being alone and being lonely. It's too many people, females in particular, who are alone, but they make themselves lonely and just seem to not be able to function because they're single. They just can't be single. So they're like, oh, well, I got to just get a man, girl. I got to get a man. Why? What? You need a man for what? What do you need him for? Especially if, now, I'm going to go ahead and say it, okay? I'm going ahead and say it. Especially if he's not bringing anything to the table. Then what are you doing? If he's not bringing anything to the table, and this is about sex, then you need desperately to go get some vibrators. There's all different kinds. They got pink ones, blue ones, black ones, tan ones. They got stuff with batteries, stuff without batteries. They got stuff that stick to the wall. They got all kind of stuff. There's no excuse. If it's about that, if it's about sex, then you need to figure out a way to have sex without bringing people into your home. Because let me help you. If it's about sex, it is much, much safer for you to just call yourself a hoe and a hooker like you are and be that, instead of trying to act like you are, Miss Holier Than Thou and you're a saint and, oh no, honey, I'm only having sex with the man that lives with me. It's better for you to just be a hoe. Go ahead and hooker yourself so that you can just have random sex and then let it be about sex until you can get to know someone for real and have a real, actual relationship.
Because the truth is, to the good girl having some random dude live with you and your kids, and the hoe is actually in a better situation because most likely the hoe is going to use a condom with every man she sleeps with, and those men are not living in the house with your
with her
freaking
children.
kids.
That's right. She's getting them.
And,
She's getting some money. She's getting some
right.
money.
And one other thing, the good girl, you know what usually happens with the good girl when she lets the man live with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
The condom comes off.
That's right. Of course. Of course.
So with the two situations, the hoe is actually being a little bit more responsible than the good girl.
That is correct.
Good girl. Go ahead, Megan.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The best thing for you to do is to tell yourself the truth and stop trying to act like, oh, I want to be the good girl. Or I want to give off this image as being a good girl. And then, well, this is the other thing that cracks me up that you mothers say. Oh, well, I don't want random men in my around my children. No. Take them. Can I say the N-word? Take them people to the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Yeah. Go to their house, right. Have sex, get your money. If that's what you're going to do, then you go back home to your children. I'm not telling you to bring people in and out of your house. I'm telling you that you make a stupid choice by bringing a strange man, whether it's men or man, it doesn't matter, by bringing a strange man into your home, one with whom you have not properly vetted.
Right.
Period.
And the bottom line is this. Good girls, y'all have I would say y'all have the knack for thinking that y'all are these good girls, and just because you're not sleeping with all these different men, but you'll get with one man that you barely know and you'll move his ass into your house with your damn kids thinking you're a good girl. No, you're a dumb girl.
Okay? You're dumb. You're dumb.
Like I said, the hoes, and this ain't about hoes versus good girls, but this is something that hoes and good girls actually do. They move random men into their damn house because they want to wake up next to, some penis, and they want to, have somebody to protect them, which is okay. And they want somebody helping with their damn bills. At the end of the day, when you add kids to the situation, you're dumb.
Yeah, you're dumb. This is you're putting them in a very serious jeopardy. Go ahead and continue with the story there, Aaron.
Okay, so what ends up happening with this story, right? The kids are afraid of all this, and her dumb ass doesn't know what's going on, so she stays home from work, doesn't go anywhere, right? And the next morning,
then she
go to school.
Well, so that one day she called off work, but then after that she kept on going back to work, whatever. And then one day, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So one day she calls the school trying to figure out where her kids are, and the kids are still at the school, and their child protective services of that city says, "Hey, you're not getting your kids back because they said this dude did A, B, and C with them." I'm not gonna say the word, but you know what I mean, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a reenactment, right? So I can't get mad because this isn't really what may have happened. I don't know. But the reenactment was this. The woman's on the phone saying that, and the people are saying, this dude did A, B, and C with the kids. And this is a reenactment. So I can't just say the woman did this. She's like, you need to give me my kids. I need to talk to my kids. And the dude is in the kitchen with her. And I'm sitting there, right? It's a reenactment, but I'm sitting there like, these people literally said what this dude just did to you,
right?
Or to your kids. And he's standing right there in the kitchen with you.
Right.
And you're yelling at the CCS people?
Talking about, I want to talk to my kids.
I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
What? So what ends up happening is, is a reenactment. So, we don't really know what happens while they're in the kitchen, but it's a little bit of a gap. And next thing you know, she's talking to the police, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, I guess the police, they catch the guy or whatever, because the reenactment, they didn't tell everything. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, she finds out that this guy done knocked off about 5 to 7 other people, right?
Straight up.
Including her brother's kid.
That's correct. And her friend. And her friend.
and her friend. Yeah. So when I say knocked off, I mean both bad scenarios. So I'm just trying. I want an algorithm to be activated or whatever. But yeah,
Well, let's put it this way: the people are no longer living. Okay,
some people no longer living, and some people got sore butts. We'll put it like that.
So to 5 to 7 different women. Okay, now, so she's at the police station, and they're asking her questions about her own 2 daughters and the activity that was going on at night while she was at work with this random man that she done picked up somewhere and put him in the house with her children.
Which a lot of you are doing presently.
Which a lot of you are doing right now. Then she's they let her go, and so she's driving down the street, and as she's driving down the street, she veers over to the right and she looks over to the right and sees this guy in an orange jumpsuit in the middle of the forest with a bunch of police officers telling them where he's put the bodies.
Mm-hmm. Well, she was with the police. The police was telling her,
hey, she was with the police at the time.
Show you what your boyfriend that you had living in your house like a dumbass is doing.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. And then she was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's really doing this. So here's the thing. It should not have to come to an orange suit for your silly self. Because by the time the people are in orange suits, people are gone.
Gone.
And never coming back. And the damage has been done to your children. Now you got to fight with CPS and everybody else's ass to try to get your children back because you done fooled around with some Tom, Dick, and Harry over here who likes to do stupid, weird things. And then the guy, the real guy, they're interviewing the real guy. And the real guy says, well, I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I did it. I just had these urges, and it seems like I just couldn't control myself. And at the time it was happening, I really enjoyed it while it was happening. But then after it was over, it was like a dream. And then when I realized what I've done, I have remorse, and I feel really bad. Like I'm really, really bad. I'm really, really sorry about it. But there was nothing I can do. I couldn't control myself. This is what he says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is what he says. Yeah. So she's now crying and talking about, oh my God, it's my fault, and I shouldn't have brought this guy around my family, and da-da-da. No, you right. You damn sure should not have. You should not have. And this is a warning. Now, of course, I'm not in any way saying that every man that you have in your house, if you're not married to him, this and the other. Listen, actual biological fathers have been known to do, some of them do. So this is not necessarily about you have to be married or whatever. But 110%, if your children are telling you that something is going on, believe them. Or at least do some type of research. Damn. You just gonna be like, oh yeah, girl, go on over to your uncle's house, you be all right. When she's screaming,
and this is what I said
no.
at the end of the video, because I added my own commentary to the video, right? So the woman is just like, he's trying to get parole right now, and every day I'm worried, like when he gets out of jail, he's gonna come back to get me. I'm like, he's not gonna come back to get you. He's gonna come back and apologize to you and be like, I'm sorry, and he's gonna move his ass back in your house and your dumb ass, because especially if you don't have your kids, if you lost custody of your kids, your dumb ass gonna let them come back and move in.
Guaranteed fact.
So, with all that being said,
guaranteed fact, because she wasn't upset enough for me. She wasn't upset enough for me, Aaron. She wasn't upset enough. So he'll come back. Yeah. I'm a changed man. Oh, I found Jesus when I was inside, or I became a Muslim, or whatever the hell it is that these people do, and I'll never do it again, and so forth and so on. Next thing you know, she probably over there bringing them commissary right now. Stupid.
Because to be honest with you, a lot of these women, they in relationships with these men in prison before he get out of prison.
Speak on the shit, Aaron.
They in relationships with the guys before they even get out of prison.
A lot of you women are in relationships right now with convicts. And then you wonder why when they get out of jail, they do convict shit. And he's like, well, he said, you big monkey dumb. You've got to stop with this level of desperation. It is making you look so bad. And you're making absolutely horrific decisions. horrific decisions. You cannot listen. Let me ask you one question. Let me ask you something, because I think that the people think this is a game.
Right.
When females get out of prison, do it be a whole bunch of men waiting for them to come home? Is it men outside waiting, talking about, oh yeah, you come, oh my God, I've been missing you, you can come back, stay with me. This broad done got cornrows and shit. Some of them done shaved their head bald, shoulder big, thick, broad. This girl been, never mind. Anyhow.
Actually, because I read a documentary of women's prisons, because I wanted to know what's the difference between women's prison and male's prison, because I was actually going into men's prisons to like teach them how to let go of guilt and all that different stuff. And I was like, all right, so I want to do the men's prison and the women prison, right? So I started looking at documentaries on women's prisons. And I learned that they actually are people that hang outside of prisons, but they don't know the woman. It's not like the guy, like with the woman, is in a whole relationship, like, yeah, come stay with me. No, it'd be random dudes just sitting around in their car with the AC on, just laid back and they waiting on some random girl to get out. Like, hey, you need somewhere to go. Hey,
well, that's probably because
they can, pimp them out.
Right. Yeah. So but that's not
boyfriend girlfriend stuff.
Correct. Right. So right. No dude is having full-blown relationships, and not only that, but there's a lot of females who have relationship with men in prison and they're celibate. Like literally, the female's not having sex with anybody outside. They're in a committed relationship with this fool in jail. Oh, I'm waiting for my man to get out. He'll be out in about 2 or 3 years. All this other kind of shit. And I mean loyal. These hoes are loyal to these men. There are no men. I mean, I shouldn't say no. I'm sure there's 1 or 2. But men are not in large numbers waiting on their women to get out of jail, having relationships with women in jail, and holding themselves up, not having sex with anybody while they wait for this butch to get out of jail. There ain't nobody doing that. And they definitely are not letting no random hooker from jail come live in their house with their 3 and 4 sons and all this other kind of stuff. That is not happening. Why does it happen with women? It bothers me.
I don't necessarily, well, I have an idea of why, and this is a great segue to the next video that we're talking about. So speaking of a woman waiting a bunch of years for a man to get out of prison, speaking on why do women do certain things, the answer to that is because they have been raised by their moms, and their moms traumatized the hell out of them, and they run around like little puppies seeking love from anybody who has a damn pulse, because their mother did not love them. Their mothers did not validate them. Their mother usually called them all kinds of bad names, because a lot of times a woman's mother is in competition with her daughter. Her daughter, no stretch marks. She's young. She's viral. What is this? Not viral. She's virile. You know what I'm saying? Just looking good or whatever. And mom got stretch marks. Then I got fat. And she's like 40. She ain't looking as good. So she's looking at her daughter like, oh, you think you cute, huh? You little, right? So next thing you know, you don't get the love that you needed from your mom, because her mom did not give her the love that she needed. So she doesn't know how to love. So she's not loving her daughter. So you grow up without the love that you needed from your mom, right? Mm-hmm. And you witness all these other different things. You witness your auntie deal with a man fresh out of prison and all this other stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So on to this new video, which is Mandices from Love and Hip Hop and his girlfriend, because they're not married. They lied that they got married. They didn't get married. Yandy. And I'm a big fan of Yandy because of what she does in the community or whatever. Because I can't take that away from her. You do some dumb stuff, but if you doing for the community, that's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. So Yandy, just like a lot of y'all, y'all get with a dude who has a whole lot of issues. Why? Because there's a possibility that you have a lot of issues. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I.e. Yandy and a lot of other black women. I'm not singling Yandy out because I don't know Yandy. She's just on a show that, I watched, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not about Yandy. This is just about typical black women getting with the dumbest dude that she can find, right? Which is, to a certain degree, Mendices, okay? Mendices was a total street dude and was doing all this stupid stuff or whatever. And because of whatever issues or lack of self-love that Yandy has, because Yandy was getting the bag. Yandy was like, she's out here. She's been getting money. But
Mm-hmm.
instead of finding an upstanding man that's actually getting money like she is, she gets with this dude, right? So she has a baby with him or whatever, and he goes to prison because of what she knew he was actually doing when she freaking got with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he does, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 years in prison or whatever. Oh yeah, y'all make sure to hit the like button. Y'all make sure to hit the like button.
Hit
So
the like
he
button.
does time in prison. She's just like you said, celibate until he comes out or whatever. She's Miss Mandisi, which is it is what it is. Some people may say that's being loyal. Some people they say that's stupid. I ain't worrying about that part right there, right? So he gets out of prison, and right now on Love and Hip Hop reunion, it's like a Love and Hip Hop barbecue. Like literally every person that's ever been on Love and Hip Hop, they all had this meetup, right? And it was dope. They cooking, they having fun. It's like a big family. It's awesome, right? So it's a certain particular part on Love and Hip Hop where everybody decides to get up and talk about what they've been through, right? So you gotta understand, he's fresh out of prison, so he still has some feelings about what's been going on because he probably hasn't been talking to people the way he wanted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's having fun. So he stands up, Mandisi's from Love and Hip Hop. He stands up and says, this is a little hard for me. I've been through a lot, and I just want to say that sometimes I feel like I'm just out of place. Some of you guys may be able to resonate with that, but I feel out of place to this day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And part of this is because of my traumatic upbringing. Right, and when he talks about his mom, now his mom is there. I mean, it's a huge barbecue. Mom is there, cousins there, everybody who's anybody's everybody's there having fun, right? So mom is sitting over here. Now, if anybody has looked at Love and Hip Hop, you'll know Mandisi's mom was a straight asshole, right? She was just a terrible person. She's always fussing with Mandisi, doing all this other stuff. Literally fighting with Yandy's mom, all this stuff, right?
Wow.
So here's another thing. You get with a man and his mom is a nutcase, right? And you cool with that. This is who you want to be with. This is who you want to marry. Ladies, stop dealing with men who, one, is in the street doing dumb shit, and two, has a psycho family, okay? With his damn mom.
Right. You have a psycho family. Like, get out of there fast.
That family's stupid. So not only you get with a man, you get with a man, whole family, and everybody's stupid. So back to the situation, right? So he's standing up, just emptying his heart out. This was a beautiful moment, right? So he's like, there's a certain part of my life where like I never had a father figure. The streets raised me, right? Mm-hmm. And he's sitting here thinking like, yo, it's certain times that me and my siblings literally couldn't eat. My mom mom's in the room. Mm-hmm. My mom used to leave us in the house with no food for days. Mm-hmm. Mom does this. Who you talking about? And he's like, what? You did that, Mom. Like, we all are here, and this is a particular section of the situation where you get up and talk about your upbringing. You cool, Mom, right? And she's like, go ahead, do it.
Right.
And
she's about to...
going on, and she's like, you know what? And she gets up.
She stands
and
up.
she gets up, and she's like, she literally stands, you see how me and Megan are next to each other, right? She stands right next to him and says, okay, keep going, right? So he's like, You good, Mom? She's like, yeah, okay. She's standing next to him. And he's like, Mom, why you got to stand up here, right? This is a grown man. Just imagine a grown man like, Mom, what are you doing? You're embarrassing me. That's what was happening. Grown ass man, right? So she goes and stands right next to him, just like me and Megan are positioned right here, right? So he's going on and saying like, and so she says, okay, why didn't you go to your grandma's house? And she's like, Mom, we're little, we're children, we're in the projects.
Right.
We're gonna cross the
well,
street.
She said, yeah, she said, why you didn't?
House
she said,
because
why didn't you go to your grandma's house? She lived across the street. And he said, and he was like, well, we didn't know what across the street was because we lived in the projects.
But that shows how little they were.
Yeah.
I want y'all to think about how little they had to be where they didn't have an understanding of what across the street meant. That's how little they were. And this freaking woman is leaving them in the house alone with no food. And this man is like literally about to cry, right? So she turns around. This is his mother, right? Because we're talking about traumatic upbringings. What make y'all do the dumb shit that y'all do, right? Move men in y'all houses. This is the reason why. Even though this is a male talking, this shit happened to you too, probably. So his goofy ass mom comes along, you know, no, stop. And he's like,
yeah, she like, you saying too much. You talking too much.
You talking too much. He's like, you said speak your mind when you stood up next to me.
Yeah, she said, but I ain't say all that.
I ain't say all that. He's like, well, this is my truth.
I don't give a damn what she said. Okay, you saying too much.
What do you expect me to say? So
now
next thing you know, she starts, well, let me tell you something. And this is what the typical black mom does. Mm-hmm. It's what she's about to say. She turned around. First of all, my kids were my everything. That's a typical black mom. See, typical black moms give out these typical black mom speeches. All right. The first thing they want to do is give out a soliloquy of how much of a victim of their own lives, of their own stupidity that they were. So she says, well, my kids were my life. If I didn't have my kids, I didn't know. Who gives a shit? First of all, what the hell are you talking about? This is this man trying to talk about his life. Your dumb ass come up here and just get up. Shut up. So next thing you know, now that's the first part of the soliloquy because it's a black mom speech. So the second thing she goes into the typical black mom speech. Well, I was a strong black woman and I had to do what I had to do because what does a typical black mom say? They say I did what I had to do. You know, it was hard. You know, your daddy wasn't around, right? They always want to, you know. So what this in particular is saying is they victimize themselves. Okay, they dismiss when the young person is actually speaking out their mind. What Mandisi was doing, she didn't dismiss his feelings and made it all about her. So they dismiss and make it all about them. They victimize themselves, dismiss the person's feelings and make it all about them, you know, because they're a victim. And then they justify their actions. Well, I'm a single mom. What am I supposed to do? Blah, 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 blah. And then they deflect the problem on somebody else. Well, if it wasn't for your daddy leaving us, we would be in a better situation. Mm-hmm. You know? So she literally takes over the whole area. She's just like, no. And then she literally victimizes herself to the point where she forces this young man to have to take up for her story. Mm-hmm. So he stands up and says, well, just so y'all know, my mom is a strong woman. My mom, I'm like, bro, that's not what you were saying. Finish your story. Now you got to do she was a strong mom. She was a single mom. She did everything she could. No, the hell she couldn't. What was she doing where she left y'all asses at? Stop with she did everything she could. No, that she couldn't. No.
Yeah. And see,
this is why times where you have to be somewhere else and your children at home by themselves for days at a time with no food. There's nothing. There's a lot she could have done better. Talking about she did all she could do.
Well,
here's the typical problem. Go ahead,
we have to differentiate between the typical black mom's response with the typical victimization response, because white women do it as well. Mexican women, everybody, any drug addict of any color
Okay.
says, well, I was sick at the time. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
That's their response.
Right.
They say, I was sick. Or,
Mm-hmm.
I left you in the house for days and days at a time. Or I gave you to my drug dealer for him to do whatever he wanted to do with you because I was sick. That's their excuse, right? Okay. So it doesn't matter what color they are. Now, the
But if
problem
the person is a drug addict, I kind of understand. They're a drug addict. Drug addicts do drug addicts.
No. In order to use drugs, you have to make a choice. Unless somebody forced it on you. That's different. But we're talking about somebody who made a choice to begin to do drugs. Okay.
Right.
Now, the person that made a choice to begin to do drugs is the same person that chose a man that she shouldn't have had children with. It's still a choice. It's choices all the way around. So the point that, God bless you, the point that I would like to get across is that females, you need to do as much research as you possibly can on a man before you have sex with him, just in case you get pregnant. Because the excuse of your father wasn't here to help me does not take away the trauma that the children experience based on the choices that you make. Even if you made the choices because you needed to. Mm-hmm. It still doesn't matter. So it is better for you to have children with somebody who has been vetted instead of having children and using the same excuses that are used by victims. Meaning, I did the best that I could. I was doing it by myself. Blah, 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 blah. Because what you're trying to keep from happening is you having to break your ass to provide for these children. It is supposed to be...
You didn't have to make the children.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's supposed to be...
Why are you going to make 3 kids?
It's supposed to be a conjoined effort. It's supposed to be a conjoined effort. That way, it's not as hard on just one person. But if you have one child, then that doesn't work out with the dad. And then you go have another child. And you have not vetted this other person, shame on you. Because it's much easier to take care of one children. You have 2, now it's twice as hard. You have 3 and 4 and 5. Ma'am, close the coochie. Close it up. Close it. Just
stitch it up.
Do something to it. Put some Gorilla Glue on it, ho. Do something. Yeah, quickly. And do it fast. You've got to close that girl for business because you're not making good choices as it pertains to who you're having sex with, who you're making these children with, which is then making your life very, very hard. I saw an episode of Iyanla Van Zandt Fix My Life. She had a lady on there who had 6 children by 5 different men. And 5 of the children were being taken care of by her mother. That's not fair to the children. It's not fair to the mother. And it's definitely not fair to your cervix, huh? That's how you get cervical cancer. That's crazy. I'm not saying that you can't have sex.
Like a damn water sprinkler.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you can't have sex with random people. I think you should do whatever it is that you want to do. I'm just telling you that when you include children, when you're not having protected sex and you include children into this synopsis, it is exceptionally damaging. And you don't want to have a whole bunch of people on this planet energetically energized people having negative feelings about you. You don't want that. You don't want that. You do not want your seed, your offspring, saying horrible things about the womb from which they came.
Well, in the black household, they don't have to worry about that because they, by the time they're grown, they'll be brainwashed enough to not talk about mama and what mama did. You don't know too many black people who are bold enough to stand in front of their mom, male or female, and say, "Mom, you did this to me. You didn't do a good job."
No, I'm
Because
talking about energetically, energy wise. They may not say it
oh,
to your face, but
right.
that's how they feel, and the feeling
Oh,
is
they
much
don't care
more
about that.
important than it. Well, you better.
They
That's
just wanted a baby. A lot
well,
of women, they just want a damn baby. They
well.
just, because the reason why, and I got to shoot him some bail a little bit, Megan, because this is usually what happens. And let me know if we want to wind down. But this is usually what happens. Uh,
Oh shit.
Grandmama,
You better
well,
wind down.
first mama has a baby because nobody really cared or loved her, right? A lot of times, women are having children simply because they want somebody that will love them and not leave them. There's abandonment issues going on. There's lack of love. So grandmama had a baby because of whatever, right? Grandma may have gotten married, right? But then mama, she comes out. Grandmama doesn't love her own daughter because a lot of times the mom is in competition with the daughter, right? So or she has a male sibling and she gives, or either just a stupid sibling, right? And mom, which is grandmama right here, she gives all of the love to like the dumbest sibling. So sometimes when you are the smarter sibling, you're the one. It's almost like Cinderella and the evil stepsisters, right? Cinderella was washing clothes, washing dishes, washing the floor, and when it came to time to go to the ball, the stepsisters were able to go, but you couldn't. It's kind of like that, right? So since you're the smarter sister, you're the more understanding sister. Well, because of that, your siblings get to do whatever they want to do, and they get all of the love and all the attention, all the validation from mama, right? And you end up being the black sheep, and you're sitting there like, but I'm smarter than everybody. Because usually in these families, and this is black and white families, the mom who's emotionally she has emotional deficits because like I told you, her mom is not giving her the love that she needs. She turns around and says when she gets old enough, one, I can't wait to leave my mama's house, and two, I can't wait to have my own family, and I'm gonna do the opposite of what my mama did, right? So she can't wait to move out of mama's house, and she can't wait to make a baby because she now can have somebody that's gonna love her and not leave her like her daddy did, right? So
But that's
mama is out here.
mhm.
She moves to the projects. She's on welfare. She's having babies for two reasons. So she can have somewhere to stay because she gets Section 8. And two, now she has this child that is forced to love her, right? But here's what the problem is. She was never taught how to love from her mother, right? So she doesn't necessarily know how to love another person. So what ends up happening is your own child has this same deficit without you even realizing it because you just weren't taught. You tried to love your kid, but you don't know how. Sorry, some people literally don't know how because they were raised in trauma. So now your child doesn't necessarily grow up with the love and appreciation for life that she or he should have grown up being, right? But you, in your mind, all you can think about is what you went through when you were a kid, and you were doing the opposite of what your mom did. So, say your mom was totally like she was abusive, she was all in your business, she was controlling, she was like all this other stuff, and she was hollering at you all the time. Sit down, shut up, do this. She was so controlling, and you grew up. You like, you know what? I'm not gonna raise my kids like that. I'm gonna be the totally opposite of my mom. So she's super hot, right? Well, she's super hot, right? So what ends up happening is you get super cold, or your mom was super cold and you get super hot. So say your mom was super hot, abusive, a first would be abusive, always in your business, controlling, won't let you do nothing, make you clean up, and you was like a slave in your own house. So you grow up wanting to be super cold. And being super cold is the opposite of your mom. You want to be the opposite of your mom. So what ends up happening with this situation is You are emotionally unavailable because you're the total opposite of your mom. She was too emotional, right? So you're total opposite of your mom. So you don't have any emotions. So you're emotionally unavailable to your kid, right? So now your kid gets older and your kid comes to you and it's like, Mom, you weren't emotionally available to me. You weren't affectionate. You didn't give me any love. And the first thing you say is like, how dare you? I did everything I could for you. And because you got to remember, you don't know how to love and you wanted to be the opposite of your mom. So you try not to be abusive. You try not to holler at your daughter. But you were so much the opposite where you didn't do nothing and say nothing. And your daughter needed you, right? So she grows up saying, you weren't there for me. You were just so emotionally unavailable. And you're like, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
And that is how the cycle starts.
Well, there's
goes through. Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, there's a couple of different. There's a couple of very strong differences in those cycles that you were saying. So, one, all moms are not in competition with their daughters. Now, some are. Usually, the ones that are in competition with their daughters are in competition because the man that's in their house is a... Can you say the P word? You can't say P, huh?
Nah.
Okay. The man that's in their house prefers the younger child. Prefers the daughter. And forces a competition. Or the mom was at one time the young daughter and recognizes that type of behavior from the man because it happened to her when she was a child, which then put her in competition with her mom. Okay, that's the first thing. The other thing is sometimes women are in competition with their daughters in particular because the father is really a loving dad and he loves his daughter and shows more affection towards his daughter than he does to the wife.
Stop right there. Oh my God, you're so right.
Well, I know I'm right, Aaron.
Please say that again.
So sometimes the mom is in competition with the daughter because the dad is a good dad and he shows more affection towards the daughter than he does towards the mom. Now, that can be, they can be married or they can be divorced. It doesn't matter. But the bottom line is the mom may not have had that same type of wonderful dad experience with her own father and thus has some jealousy with her daughter. Another thing that happens sometimes is that when a mother has a daughter and a son, she tends to treat the son with kid gloves because it is already assumed that the daughter is strong and, independent and, oh, girl, you can do it and this and the other, but we got to cradle the boys. And so that also at times can bring about a lot of problems between the mother and the daughter. Okay? Now, when someone is raised in an emotionless or a relationship with their mom or dad or whatever, and there is a lack of emotional connection. Affectionless, so for like stuff like that. Usually, the only way in which they know they're missing something is because they have another person to compare it to. So, like, for example, the mom didn't show any affection, but the grandmother was very affectionate.
Why is it always like that?
Well, because the grandmother usually gets older, becomes wiser and mature, and learns from her mistakes. And so that's why grandkids love their grandparents, usually, but can't stand their mama. But the mama is like, how can you love this lady? She was mean as shit to me. Well, she probably was, because you're mean as shit to the children now. But she learned from her mistakes, and thus she's no longer being as mean as she was to the first child. Okay. So usually they say, well, Mom, you weren't there for me. You didn't give me any affection that I needed, so forth and so on. like grandma or like my parental parent side of the family, or like this and the other. There's usually something to compare it to. It's very rare that someone will know that affection was missing if it was always gone. You have to have had it to be able to say, this is what I missed out on. You don't miss what you never had, right? So there's a lot of little idiosyncrasies there with the things in that you were talking about. Of course, all of them were correct, but there are certain little pockets that they fit in. This lady in particular that we're talking about with DC or whatever, I don't watch these reality TV shows. I only saw it because it was on your page. But whatever this guy's name is, the bottom line is that embarrassment. It's all about embarrassment. She didn't want to be embarrassed, and once the son realized that he was embarrassing his mama, then he started to change his tune. Well, I just want to let you know she's a very strong woman and she'd do anything for me all of a sudden, but she didn't do enough to get you some food in the house. You know, so forth and so on. So again, the situation that he was in, he will provide that same type of scenario to his own children unless he learns to drastically change. Mm-hmm. You can't just identify this problem. You have to change it. You can say all day long, oh, well, you know, my mom wasn't there for me, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's all messed up and my life is messed up and this and the other, blah, blah, blah. You can say that shit all day long. But until you make some serious changes, it means absolutely nothing. You have to actually change.
And let me say this real quick. To the people out here who say, well, you're only talking to a small demographic of people who experience this. I promise you, there is a huge demographic of women and men who deal with the same things that Mandisi's dealt with, or a lot of you dealt with. And it's a lot of the things that happened when you were growing up, a lot of the things that you were you didn't get, you didn't receive, like love and attention and affection that you didn't receive as a child. A lot of those things are affecting your parenting skills now, but in your mind, you think you're a good parent simply because you're not next to another parent doing something better than you. One of my coaches always told me that he's used this saying: you can't tell that a stick is bent until you put the stick next to a stick that isn't bent. Something like that. I don't remember what it was. But at the end of the day, just like if this was bent, right, you couldn't really tell until you put it next to another one, right? So the bottom line is sometimes you can't really tell that you're a crappy mother until you're next to a great mother, or a crappy man or a crappy woman until you're next to, just like, for example, I have at least about 15 friends that I know personally that are millionaires. I found out like 2 of them were millionaires last week. I'm like, damn, how the hell is everybody a millionaire? So until that time, when you're up against somebody that is doing way better or way more than you, then you start looking at your life like, yo, I thought I was killing it as a this or a content creator, or I thought I was killing it as a mom. But when you are up next, you know, you're next to this person that is doing this, that is usually the only time you realize, like, yo, I'm down here. I need to get my life together. So,
well, I don't know. That might be maybe that's a dude thing. I don't know.
No, and I'm just saying you may think you're doing a great job at whatever.
But I think that's kind of that's going to cause a level of perfectionism that can halt you from moving at all.
Okay.
So because see, if you compare yourself too much to other people and what they're doing without knowing how they got there and their story in specifics, then it will make you say, well, fuck it, they're too far ahead. You know, they're too far ahead and I can't, and I'll never be able to catch up. So screw it. I'm not good enough. The idea is to do your best, period.
Mhm.
Because once you do your very best, it doesn't matter if somebody is here, there, or whatever. If you have a child and you say, I'm doing my best, and
You're lying though.
well, no, because your best is not going to have you leaving them without food for days and days. That's not your best.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Because it depends
No,
on
it's not.
circumstances.
No.
The same thing as far as the level like this.
Aaron, no. I understand what you're saying, but let me finish. I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is they're saying I did my best as a response to the trauma in which the child is now speaking on. But at the time, they know good. No,
back then too, though.
They know good and damn well they were not doing their best at that time. They know they weren't doing their best.
Let me give you an example. When you say I did my best, right? Mm-hmm. You're doing the best you you think you're capable of. Have you ever been on a treadmill or did anything where you know what you can do? And then whenever you get to a certain point where you run a certain speed or run a certain amount of miles, you feel like, whoo, all right, I'm done. I can't go no more. Because that is your best. You ever been on a treadmill and somebody's like, whoo, 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 whoo. And you like, see, sometimes it's not, I understand what you're saying about competition and comparison with women, but sometimes when you see somebody else, you're like, God damn, they little than me, or they're bigger than me, or they're this than me, they're older than me. Damn. And you start realizing that your best may be trash. So we have to be careful when we talk about I did my best, because if you're a crappy mom, you may think you're doing your best because the reason why she may have left these kids at home by themselves for 2 days is because I don't know, maybe she's hustling, maybe she was selling drugs or something. I don't know, because she was maybe she was doing some strange stuff for some change, and then when she came back, she may have came home $600 2 days later, and everybody got joins or whatever. But at the end of the day, he remembered those 2 days of not being hungry. He's not going to think about when she came back with the $600. So in her mind, she may feel like because of the circumstances, she did her best. And that is actually a problem.
Okay, but listen to what I'm saying. You have to remember that being on the treadmill in the first place is something good. So whether you're staying on the treadmill as long as the other person next to you who's doing 2 and 3 and times more than you, from the beginning, foundationally, you are doing something that is good. And so your best in goodness is still going to give you a level of self-worth and confidence to be able to pat yourself on the back and say, you know what? I did my best and I did really well at something good.
Let me ask you a question. Go ahead.
Okay. If someone is leaving their children in the home for 2 and 3 days at a time, it's never because they're doing something good. So what I'm saying is, when somebody says, I tried my best, it does not mean that they did what they knew they should have done. It means that they did their best based on the circumstances they were put in due to the choices that they made, which put them into that situation. But they can't say that you cannot say that I tried or I did. You can say I tried, but you can't say I did my best. You cannot say I did my best when you leave your children in the house for 2 and 3 days. Because your best and doing the best means that you are putting your best foot forward in something that is good, something
Right.
that
So
is
look,
good. So if you're doing drugs or something strange for a little change or whatever,
it's
you
still her
already know
best.
it's not good. But
Look, you
okay.
gotta understand. You gotta understand. I sold drugs. Okay, I done all kinds of stuff. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I can easily say because I had to buy my own school clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and I can easily say I did what I had to do to buy school clothes. See, it's not I did my
But
best to buy school clothes because I actually did because I did my best as a 12-year-old to buy my own clothes.
did you
Okay.
know that selling drugs? Did you know at 12 years old that selling drugs was wrong,
Yes.
or you didn't know?
Yes.
So then you didn't do your best.
No. 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 No.
You could have
No.
went to Target and got a job.
Megan, this is not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry.
did my best to buy my own school clothes because it was either don't do this or do this and suffer. Okay.
Okay.
So when someone says I did my best, it's not in context of the best thing. No, it's about the sacrifice. So imagine a
Okay.
stripper, right?
Okay.
And she strips
Sacrifice.
at night,
Okay.
right? And she got to sell booty after she gets off of work, right? So say um she has her kids by home at home by
No,
themselves
I understand
because
what you're
it's
saying.
at night,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they like, all right, they good. It's at night. We live in the hood, but this is the best I can do. So she
Mm-hmm.
goes and strips, right? So
Mm-hmm.
she stripped. She's gone for 8 hours, and then come two
Ooh, that's a lot of
thirty,
stripping.
she got a dude who sends her a text like,
Stripping for
"Yo, I
8 hours.
got 300 for you. Pull up."
Stripping for 8
So now she stays over his house after a night of stripping. Now she's with him, and so say her count out is like till 3:30. So she goes him. So she's with him for till 6, right? So
Got
literally
you.
all night. She gets home at 6,
Mm-hmm.
and now she has $900 or $1,500, right? In
Mm-hmm.
her mind, as a stripper, because of the circumstance, she's gonna feel like I did my best to take care of my kids, even though the kids were at home all night by themselves. They're in the projects, and anything could have happened. And she sold herself for for $300 more past what she was dancing around naked for 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
In her mind, she's gonna feel like she did her best because her best is because of her circumstances. So that is what I'm saying. It's not the best, it's her best. And it depends on who the actual person is. But if you put that stripper next to somebody who does Facebook ads and or it could be a cop, anything, a woman that makes great money during the day, she's gonna feel like shit. Because her best up against her best is gonna be thwarted and she's gonna be like,
But in the
shit, I feel like
context,
hell.
but in the
So that is all I'm saying.
but in the context of what you're saying, it
But we can go
why
past
would
that.
the
I don't
stripper?
want to stay on that too long.
Okay, we don't have to. But why would the stripper feel bad if she's doing her best? Even in comparison to somebody else who's doing Facebook ads. Maybe she'd say, well, fuck it, I'm doing my best, so why do I
This
care?
is the reason why I say, how dare you get mad at me because I did my best to take care of my kids, even though I left y'all home by yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. That's why I put it in the context of good or bad. But I understand
But
exactly
it's
what
not
you're
good or
saying.
bad.
No,
It's
I
not good or
understand.
bad.
No, I understand. I understand
Yeah,
exactly what you're saying.
when you're
I
a
understand exactly what
hood
you're saying.
person doing whatever, it ain't good or bad. You just do whatever you because you're in survival mode.
Okay. Okay.
Nobody's thinking about good or bad when you're trying to pay your bills. Your lights don't got cut off, or you know what I'm saying. I'm from the hood, so I'm not gonna say I understand what the woman did, but I'm just trying to add some context to the people who are watching and thinking about this whole Mandisi stuff, them leaving them kids at home. I just wanted to let them know that even you as a mother or a father, you may feel like you're doing the best and you might be a trash father, trash mother, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody gets up in your face saying you were trash, you might turn around and say, I did the best I could. Yeah, the best you could, but the best you could wasn't the best for them kids.
Wasn't
It
the
was the
best
best for
that they
your
needed.
stuff. So you
Absolutely.
still want to pay your cell phone bill. You probably still want to buy some outfits. You still want to go out or whatever. So along with you trying to take care of your kids, you spent some of that money that you hustled for or did some dumb stuff for yourself also.
So it sounds like there's really no way in which to keep trauma or to keep your children from being affected because it is their perception of your parenting and whether it is what they needed or not. Because some kids,
Yes.
maybe they don't need hugs, maybe they don't need kisses, maybe they don't need, well, obviously they need food every day, but some kids may not need what another child needs. And so that's why doing your best unequivocally is so important, because then honestly you can really say, so for me, it's hard for me to be able to say, well, I was selling drugs every night, and so that's why I wasn't home with my kid, and I was doing my best, and then that be the excuse
Yes.
to a grown child who is now saying, "Mom, you weren't there for me." Well,
Yes.
I did my best. I mean, shit, what the fuck,
Right.
See, for me, that now, if I say,
That's a possibility. That's the reason why she was gone for real.
right, yeah, I don't know. So, but if someone is saying, well, I was at, I did night school, and so my kid was with me at school. Like, I had to keep him in his stroller or whatever, or, I had to keep him quiet. And unfortunately, he couldn't play around and this and the other. And so, I was at night school, and then during the day, he went to school, and then I was at work, and I worked 2 jobs and this and the other. So he could say, well, my mother was never around. And so
Right.
I didn't get any love and affection that I needed because my mother was never around. Well, then the response to say, honey, yes, you're right. I was never around. I was really doing my best, trying to create a better life for not only yourself, but for me as well.
It's not right there,
Blah, blah,
Megan.
blah.
All a kid really wants though is acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Stop,
agree.
not you, but stop with the I did my best. I did. How about you just acknowledge your kids' issues
Grievances.
and say,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
Yeah.
And just no excuses. No, well, if your daddy did this, or how can you say something like this? I kept a roof over your head, and I did my best. How about you just acknowledge your child? So this is a message to everybody reading this. Listening to this. Just simply acknowledge your kid's pain. If she would have simply let her son, going back to the show with Mendices, she would have simply sat there and just let her son get all of that off. He would have on his own came back and said, but you know what? Because of my mom's sacrifices, I became this man, or blah, 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 blah.
Right.
He would have cleaned up on his own. But that is the problem with a lot of women. For those who don't know, because a lot of people ask me, why you coach women? Why you coach women? Because I coach women. I've been doing this for 3 years, right? And one of the things that I actually do, which is my specialty, is have these conversations with women about dealing with their moms, okay? Because it's just something that's usually swept under the rug. You ask any woman, and almost, because every woman doesn't go through the same thing, but almost, I would say a huge amount of women will say they had an extremely tumultuous relationship with their mom. And because of that relationship, or because of that lack of relationship, they have relationship issues with men. Because if your own mom doesn't love you,
oh yeah, what?
How can you expect a man to love you? How do you expect, because your dad left and your mom doesn't love you, how can you expect this man to love you? So what ends up happening is you just don't know what to do, and you don't know where to go. And then when you go to your mom and say, yo, mom, I'm confused. I don't know how to love. I don't know how to do this. And your mom was like, look, don't come over here with that stuff, because I did my best. But I did my best is not comforting her.
Right.
What if your grown daughter, your grown son is simply looking for comfort from your grown ass?
Yeah.
But you want to sit here and just focus on taking up for yourself and defending yourself. And this is the reason why I see a lot of women run around defending themselves or trying to be out comments. Yeah, you did, instead of just acknowledging another person's pain.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest issue. We got to get out of here. But overall,
I agree with that. With that acknowledgement,
help somebody.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, it is for one. Listen to your kids. I mean, if they're telling you, acknowledge them when they're children. Acknowledge them when they're grown. That is 110% true, because, like you said, your best may not been good enough. Period.
Right. Right.
and that has to be okay. And if
Right.
you put forth the right effort in the first place, you don't have to defend yourself later on. You can just simply accept it for what it is. But it
Put it
see
like
if
this.
mm-hmm.
Never defend yourself unless somebody's trying to punch you in the face. How about that? There's no reason to defend yourself in any
Right,
conversation.
right,
Acknowledge the other person's issue, acknowledge the other person's pain. You go in the store and say, hey, this shirt was ripped. I want my money back. Are you going to defend yourself? Well, did you rip it? What? Instead of just saying, I understand. What do you need? Do you want a refund or do you want a store credit? Get them out the store. Acknowledge their pain.
yeah. But that takes a lot of self love. So that I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to not be defensive
Right.
takes a lot of self love that people just simply don't have. I mean, you'll
Right.
see some of the comments on Instagram where people are just being just downright nasty, and you're like, you don't even know that person. You have no idea what you're
Right.
even talking about, And it's just crazy how it's a lot of back and forth, but. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Aaron, for having me on here. Oh my God, I love talking to you because, get the juices flowing. You know what I'm saying? Get the brain moving. You got to converse. As
Yeah.
as some people
Yeah.
say, conversate. I say converse, but
Right.
some people say conversate. And so you got to do
Yeah.
that. I love being on your platform, man. You're doing so well. Thank you so much for doing the work that you're doing, because a lot of females do need to hear it from a male perspective. A lot
Yeah.
of them do need to hear it from a male perspective, because there are a lot of self-help females helping females and so forth and so on. And then there's a lot of, men who just kind of
Yeah.
placate to the same thing.
Pander. Say it. Pander.
Pander. Yeah, they placate to it. They pander to it. So it's very, it's very refreshing to hear you say some things that may not rub people the right way, but at least it gets you thinking. It gets
Mm-hmm.
people thinking. So that is really, really incredible. Thank you so much, Aaron, for what you do. And I love,
Tell people where to find you.
Oh, so everything is Megan McGlover. My website is MeganMcGlover.com. My Instagram is Megan McGlover. My Twitter is Megan McGlover. My app is McGloverable. You see it right here, McGloverable. That is my app. Or you can search Megan McGlover, and my app will come up. Please go to the meditation section and subscribe. It's only $4.99 a month, $4.99 a month. Or you can do it for a year for $52, and you get all my meditations. We do live every Sunday. And you're the first one to know about any sales I'm doing on ebooks right now. I think I have a 50% off sale going on right now on my ebooks. And so, hey, I'm here, Megan McGlover. So you
That's
can
what's
find
up.
it. You can also, if you want to do any consultations or therapy or anything like that with me, you can do that on my website, MeganMcGlover.com. And affirmations, all that stuff is on there. So it's there.
All right. And for those of you who are new to my platform, or for those of you who are wondering who is this guy and how does he coach women, um, I do something, or I help women do something that they aren't even able to accomplish in therapy. You can go through months of therapy. I've had, I would say, over 50 different women tell me that I've gotten through to their pain faster than 6 months of therapy has gotten through
Oh
to them.
yeah,
But
that's the same thing with
but
me. Oh yeah, we,
right,
we
but
get
I'm
to it
not a
quick.
therapist. Okay, so I'm not a therapist. I'm not competing with therapy. But for those of you who wonder how can I help somebody in 1 hour consultation, not bragging about it, but I have you crying because at the end of the day, once we get past all this, well, he did this, he did that stuff, we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of what actually is going on with you. And you're going to find yourself comfortable enough with me and vulnerable enough with me to open up within an hour's time. I also have, so if you wanted to, like, if this show helped you out and you're like, yo, I seen the video with Mandisi's on Instagram, which is Mr. underscore let go, and I've been through that, go to my Instagram.